Hi everyone, I'm Nick. I'm just doing this quick video to kill a couple of birds with one stone. The first is to tell you what I would do if I had £100,000 to invest right now. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about why Sheffield is a good place to invest. You can see my background. This is my part of Sheffield, and as you can see, it's surrounded by open countryside. Nice place to live. And these are typical of the sort of properties that I'll be talking about investing my £150,000 with. So what I would do if I had £100,000 sitting here right now ready to invest, I would be investing it in 2 3-bedroom houses in my goldmine area of Winkerbank. This is Winkerbank. It's a suburb of Sheffield. As you can see, it's very close to the motorway. M1 runs through here, and then not too far away it joins up with the M18 going out to the northeast. And further north at Leeds it joins with the M62 going across the Pennines, so quite well located. The area has excellent transport links into the city. You can see here Meadowhall, there's a transport interchange here, and we've got a tram which runs down the Don Valley and into the city centre. There are also trains out through Rotherham to the east and up through Barnsley to the north, and obviously back down the Don Valley into the centre of town to Sheffield main station. So good transport links. There's also excellent bus routes, high frequency, and you can be in the town centre, depends on the time of day, but less than 20 minutes into the town centre on the bus. So nice area for that. Now the Don Valley itself is home to a lot of large employers. All this corridor through the Don Valley used to be where all the steelworks were, and they've been redeveloped over the years. Still some of the old steel industries are still there. Sheffield Forge Masters is still there. Auto Campu is out beside the motorway out towards Tinsley. And then in addition, there's a large trading estate in this area with offices, head offices and regional head offices for all sorts of large national companies. And again, in this view, we can see the city centre. Now, my goldmine area is actually bang next to some serious development opportunities. Only one of these commercial opportunities is actually currently with planning permission, but this sort of olive colour and this brownie colour, these are areas where it's intended to build for increasing employment. So plenty of employment opportunities coming up very close to home. Within Winkerbank itself, we've also got some housing developments underway. These 3 here are just outlines at the moment, as is this one, and then this area here, this is currently undergoing development. There's a total capacity on the airground of 21. Current plans to build 12, of which they've already finished 9. Extra housing stock going in, and of course work for contractors, which is part of my reason for wanting to spend £100,000 on homes in this area. So within Winkerbank you can still get a typical 3-bed semi with parking for well under £150,000 each. So to purchase my 2 at 25% deposits, that will be £75,000 of my money gone, leaving me with £25,000. Now I'm reckoning total legals and professional fees should be under £10,000 total. So that leaves me with £15,000, which is more than enough to do light refurbishment if required and to re-equip my 2 £150,000 houses as serviced accommodation. And my particular idea, with all the construction going on in the city centre and with the proximity to the transport links to get all round South Yorkshire very quickly, I would aim the serviced accommodation mainly at contractors and at corporate clients. Having said that, there is some Airbnb potential. There are some tourist attractions nearby, although probably not enough to keep tourists busy for more than a weekend or so. We've got the Magna Science Adventure Centre just across the border in Rotherham, just across the Don Valley. We've got the Sheffield Arena, which hosts concerts. There's other sporting facilities in Sheffield. We've got the English Institute of Sport, again just across the Don Valley, and then we've also got the 2 football teams, so near the centre. We've got obviously Bramall Lane, Sheffield United, and Hillsborough, Sheffield Wednesday, various other sporting areas around, and of course Sheffield. Sheffield is handily situated for the beautiful Peak District and Derwent Moors. So here we go, Sheffield here, Manchester here. These are the high Derwent Moors. Got the Derwent Valley, where you might have seen Lancasters flying. This is where they did all the practice runs for bombing the Ruhr dams. then Edale, which is the start of the Pennine Way, southern end of the Pennine Way. These are the Pennines, these hills here, and the High Peak and the Peak District National Park itself, Buxton, Castleton. Nice area. And all of this is within half an hour's drive of Sheffield on a good day. So coming back to my semi-detached serviced accommodation houses, probably very similar to these ones. I would anticipate a minimum net cash flow after expenses of about £1,000 per month per property. And of course I could increase that by taking on the management myself, which is something I intend to do certainly to start. And that £1,000 is based on 70% occupation. Now if I'm working with contractors, we're going to be heading more towards getting weekends. We're looking at 80 to 90% occupation, so potential is to earn considerably more. So from a cash flow point of view, I expect my £100,000 invested to be returning somewhere in the order of 20% per annum, just on cash flow. And of course the other aspect of owning serviced accommodation properties is that just like any other house, they're going to appreciate in capital value. So that of course is on top. Now as far as capital growth goes, if we look at the heat map for the Sheffield area, we can see that significant capital growth has started to reach our city, especially out to the south and west where the more affluent suburbs are, and then to the north and east again. We're in countryside here. These are affluent suburbs and lovely countryside villages. So we've got quite a few hot spots in terms of capital growth. Where we are in Winkerbank right here is still relatively cool, which to my way of thinking means that it's got even more potential for exceeding national average capital growth than the areas which have already got there. So again, another good reason for me wanting to invest my £100,000 in 2 3-bed semi-detached houses in Winkerbank. So let's have a look at 5 good reasons why Sheffield is an excellent place to invest in property. Not in any particular order here, but the first one I'm going to talk about is, again, coming back to the fact that Sheffield is ideally located. It's at the heart of the motorway system. So we've got the M1 here coming up from the south, passing Sheffield and then making its way up towards Leeds, which is the second largest city now in the UK, I believe. Near Sheffield we've got branch off to the M18, which takes us out towards East Yorkshire and the A1 and eventually up towards the northeast. Manchester, although it's very close, is surprisingly difficult to get to. That's one drawback. They are talking about building new routes directly between Sheffield and Manchester city centres, but currently if you're on the road, your best bet is usually to go north to Leeds and then west across the M62. But anyway, see, Sheffield's at the heart of a highly populated region, including all of South Yorkshire, which is basically Sheffield, Barnsley and Doncaster. Borders onto West Yorkshire, high population areas south of Leeds, and then down to the south we've got North East Derbyshire, and out to the east we've got North Nottinghamshire. So location number 1. Number 2 for me is the fact that the city is a vibrant, attractive and growing city, and there's massive construction and reconstruction going on at the moment, particularly in the city centre. Reason number 3 for me is employment. Large employers, as I mentioned earlier, all the way down through the lower Don Valley here we have industry and commerce, trading estates, busy. This used to be where all the large steelworks were in the old days, but they've all been knocked down. The place has been completely redeveloped, including a massive shopping centre at Meadow Hall, which again not only attracts visitors but also has large numbers of staff and commercial visitors coming and going. Further out towards the golf course, as mentioned before, we have a relatively new area. All this area here is high-class car showrooms and offices for national and multinational corporations. It's also starting to be a great deal more warehousing as well. Obviously the M1 being a main trade artery attracts warehousing companies. So reason number 4, we're coming back, Sheffield's ideally placed in the timeline wave of capital growth which inevitably seeps northwards from London. Properties in the more affluent suburbs have already seen values rising faster than average, but there are still many areas where the full effects have yet to be seen, and these areas have massive potential for investors looking to get in while prices are still relatively low. As we can see out towards the posh bits, we've got prices in the posh suburbs 300,000 plus, in the nice bits close to the city centre 250, city centre itself 160. Out where we are, we're starting to get houses going for 160, but there's plenty of stock available at 120,000 or below. Of course, the other end of the scale, out in the beautiful Peak District, 500,000 is not unusual. In fact, along some of these roads here, there'll be properties worth several millions of pounds. And the fifth reason to invest in Sheffield for me is that it is a very popular place to live. It's always attracting new home buyers and renters, both professionals and families. As we saw earlier, there are some excellent sports facilities, cultural facilities as well. We've got the arena out in the Don Valley, we've got an O2 in the city centre, galleries, of course the world famous Crucible, and further out and easily accessible both from the city and from the motorway, the Rother Valley Country Park, which is now the home of Gulliver's Valley theme park, very popular with families. Local and regional transport links are largely excellent, and we're surrounded by beautiful countryside. Out to the west we've got the Peak District National Park, and out to the east, after going through the villages, you're into the wolds and plains of Lincolnshire. So reason number 5, extremely popular place for people to come and live.